Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy lives and the chaos of the city to come in and hear some live music. My name is Lynn, as Matt said, and I am the director of one of 50 state arts agencies around the country. And the goal of all of us is to make sure that arts are more accessible to everyone in the country, including in schools and in healthcare facilities and in communities around the country. One of the programs that we administer at our Arts Council, as many other states do, is a program specifically to document and to help preserve traditional music, dance, and crafts. And that's what we're about to present to you tonight. This project, the performance tonight, we have done in collaboration with the Library of Congress that has the American Folklife Center that documents and preserves music and oral history. Many of you have probably heard of the Veterans Oral History Project that's done through the American Folklife Center. And now I'm going to ask for a show of hands, if I could, of how many of you have actually been to New Hampshire? Lots. That's great. Now, for those of you that haven't been there, I need to characterize our state a little bit because we're tucked way up in northern New England. We're in between Vermont on one side and the big rugged state of Maine on the other side. We're skinny and we're heavily forested. And what's not forested is very watery. We have lots of lakes and rivers. 84% of the state, though, is under tree cover. A third of the state is a national forest, and we have a very small population. But in that population are a number of people who love to preserve traditional music. And we also share a northern border with Canada. And that proximity to Canada has prompted a lot of people moving across the border for the last 150, maybe 200 years. Many folks came in from Quebec to work the logging camps of northern New Hampshire and to work in the textile mills of the South. And they brought, of course, their music with them. The music is fiddle-based, and also it's music that is typically enjoyed in homes. So I'm going to ask you to kind of recreate an environment, a bubble around you that is a nice, warm, toasty kitchen because winters are very long in New Hampshire. So you would be in a kitchen, there'd be a wood stove going, and there'd be all kinds of good food on a table, and these musicians would be playing into the wee morning hours. We're going to start our musical journey with a young man named Patrick Ross that we've had the privilege to work with through the Arts Council, who has been working with older fiddlers and musicians most of his life, and he'll introduce you to wonderful other musicians who will join him. So let's start off welcoming Patrick Ross.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Evan. I'm going to start out with a fiddle tune that I learned from an old man named Larry Riendo. God bless his soul. It's called The Growling Old Man and the Old Woman. And if you close your eyes and you imagine an old man kind of growling and, yeah, I'll get to it. And the old lady in the background, I thought I told you to take out the trash. Yeah, I'll get to it. So it was really interesting growing up in the North Country of New England. I was born in New Hampshire, in Colebrook, but I was brought up just across the river in Vermont. The Connecticut River is the border between New Hampshire and Vermont. Canaan is the town I grew up in Vermont. And there's no local hospital to Canaan, so yep, I was born just over the river. But where I grew up, in Canaan, fortunately for me, I was a young boy, and I grew up at a motel that my parents purchased on a lake. And the lake itself, half of it was in the United States, and the other half was in Canada, an average-sized lake. And that place on the map, Canaan, Vermont, it's a crossroads in a way, because you have Canada to the north, you have Vermont, and you have New Hampshire. And earlier today, we had the great pleasure of playing over at the Coolidge Theater at the Library of Congress, and it was a packed house, it was well received, and I made the connection between language, dialect, and music, and briefly went into, if you were thrown into Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, you'd realize that people, they get in their John Deere skidders and they go pull out Ford trucks at the Monday as often as they can, I'll tell you that for sure. But then you cross over into Vermont. Over there in Vermont, Montgomery, about 3 o'clock in the morning last night, got caught for jacking deer, yup, for sure. Got home, my wife had a little bit of pumpkin pie for me, so I ate the whole darn thing. But then, just a little bit north, you have everybody, they get up early in the morning, they eat their ham and egg for the breakfast, and they get real strong for the chainsaw work in the wood. But it translates into music as well, and the distinction of French-Canadian music is mostly in the bowing. And so if I were to take just a simple melody, like one that all of you, I'm sure, have heard. And so on and so on. Now, if I were to take that melody and play it with a French-Canadian accent, it would sound like this. So it's just a fun little demonstration to give you an idea. It comes in the bowing, and it's like there's a bounce in the bowing of it, almost enough to sometimes the bow wants to fall out of my hand. Just got to hang on real tight and enjoy the ride. But moving right along so that I can get the other musicians out here and so we can get this whole kitchen junket thing going. There's a story of French-Canadian folklore, Franco-American French-Canadian, of a prisoner. He was in a jail cell, and the bailiff, I guess this guy had been in the jail cell for, I don't know, about a month, waiting for his trial. And if he was found guilty, then he was going to be hanged. And the bailiff had this piece of junk fiddle tucked away in the corner somewhere. It might have had 2 strings on it, catgut strings, and it's all full of dust and kind of broken apart. And well, the bailiff decided to have a little fun and said, "Hey, if you can make this fiddle sound good, I'll let you go." Well, it just so happens we brought along an instrument that looks like it's been dragged behind a log truck. And, well, maybe it has been. This instrument was the instrument that Gene's dad bought for him. Gene, you'll meet in a little bit. Back in 1942 for $29.95 out of a Simpson catalog out of Montreal. And we recently kind of glued it back together with whatever glue we could find. And this tune's called the Hangman Reel. You know, when the hairs on the bow start breaking, somebody's bound to be having a good time. We stayed up till about midnight last night in our hotel room playing tunes, fiddle cases everywhere. And she says, I'm at home, man. I have to go to bed, me, get up early so I can get my ham and egg. So I'm going to play one more tune and then invite another guest, or invite a guest. And this is a tune that my father taught me. My father passed away in 1994. He was my mentor. He was my dad. And I wanted to be like my dad in every respect. His dad played fiddle. My grandfather's dad played fiddle. I'm a fifth-generation fiddle player. And this tune was one of the first that my dad taught me. It's called Ice on the Pond. And would you please welcome Monsieur Jean-Nil Thiroux.
Welcome, everybody. I'm so proud to be over here with you tonight. Thank you very much.
That's it. So Gene, how did we meet?
Well, I saw that little kid. His wife,
Mother.
Her mother, yeah, I'm sorry. Her mother, her father died, and I always feel sorry for him. No? I said, I gotta have his mother with me. It's that little kid. No? He's my stepson, no? But he's not a bad guy. He was a pretty good kid. No? I never had problem too much with him. And the other way, we went to a fiddle contest. I didn't know too much about the fiddle thing. Like, I was play fiddle since 13 years old, but never went to a fiddle contest or something like this. And finally, with him, he already started with his dad, go to a fiddle contest. And I keep the tradition go with him to every fiddle contest. I was so proud of that little kid. I was only 11, 12 years old, and he won all the time. Me, I was play fiddle when I was 13 years old, but at 20 years old, I quit for 40 years. I started again with him. Because I went to fiddle contest, he was so good, and he encouraged me to start again, and it's the way I met him, and we played together for often.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
Well, see, he's not faking that accent by any means, but he speaks English just about as well as I speak French. Mais des fois, on parle français assez souvent.
Oh, ouais. I'm better in French than English, but you know, I had 24 years old when I first speaking English, but I twist my tongue many times. But no, I'm not that bad. I think so. You got to decide that, no?
Yeah, so Gene was renting a room at the motel that my parents owned when my dad passed away, and or shortly thereafter, and he saw that my mother was having a tricky time keeping things together because, you know, my dad was the guy that was fixing everything, and he pitched in, and they got to know each other better, and then he realized that I was going to all these fiddle contests, and my mom was taking me because I couldn't drive, and so they started spending more time together, and they've been together now for, 15 years? About
19 years.
Yeah, wow. And so it's very often that Gene and I get together and we rip through a whole bunch of fiddle tunes, so many that we could not even play them all here tonight. But there is a tune, la valse qu'on avait jouée l'autre fois, tantôt à un concert à la bibliothèque.
Okay,
I believe it's called the Husqvarna Waltz. No.
Patrick, you want I sing? Okay, I'm going to sing in French. I can't sing in English. I'm sorry.
So this is a style of singing that is Franco-American, French-Canadian, and it's called un chanson à répondre, which translates to a song of response. And if all of you were fluent in French, you'd probably find it easy to sing the lyrics back to him. Gene, of course, has his own distinct style, and it sounds a little bit like this.
Mon père avait un petit oiseau, il avait de la plume, qui avait de la plume.
Son père avait un petit oiseau, qui avait de la plume, qui avait de la plume.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était beau, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un petit oiseau qui chantait comme vous.
Son père avait un petit oiseau qui chantait comme vous.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était beau, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un gros chien qui jappait pareil comme vous. Tout le monde avait
un gros chien qui jappait pareil comme vous.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était beau, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait une petite vache qui brûlait pareil comme vous.
Son père
pareil comme vous.
Le monde avait un petit beau qui braillait pareil comme vous.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était vous, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un gros chien qui jappait pareil comme vous. Tout le monde
avait un gros chien qui jappait pareil comme vous.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était vous, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un petit chat qui miaulait pareil comme vous.
Ton père y avait un petit chat qui miaulait pareil comme vous.
Tout le monde pensait que c'était vous, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un gros cheval qui nissait pareil comme vous. Tout le monde pensait que c'était vous, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous. Mon père avait un gros singe qui ressemblait beaucoup à lui. Tout
Ton
le
père
monde,
avait un gros singe qui paraît pareil comme moi.
tout le monde pensait que c'était vous, qu'elle ressemblait beaucoup à vous.
We'll play one more for you, and then we're going to invite the full band out here, and we'll drive it home that way. This tune is indicative of a small town about 20 minutes north of Canaan, across the border in Canada, St. Malo, M-A-L-O. And the tune became really famous the tune became really famous in the region because of the four corners in Saint Malo. The fiddle tune demonstrates those four corners, and showman fiddlers would play this tune, and then as they would pluck, they would knock the sides of the fiddle. So, veux-tu le jouer sur celle-là? Oui. Just going to retune this one. Fort, mon gars. Yep.
what they call a folk horn.
So, now you get to see the next generation taking this over. I used to be the next generation. Now I'm 30 years old, so it's like, oh, whatever. But, so, I'd like to invite, or actually, would you please welcome Dalton Bennett? Yay! I'm a big fan of Kermit the Frog. Anybody big fans of Kermit the Frog here? Yeah. So we chose this tune that we're about to play because of this trip down to Washington, D.C. This is a tune that was written by a fiddler named Thomas Jefferson. You just had that one. Whenever you're ready. So it was actually through a grant through the New Hampshire State Council of the Arts that Dalton and I were able to really dig into the traditional music of northern New Hampshire, northern New England, southern Quebec. And he and I spent the past few months specifically working on learning some of Gene's tunes. And whenever I describe Gene's playing, the first thing that comes to mind is it's just like trying to catch a chicken. And if you ever try to catch a chicken, it's not very easy. Well, let me explain, because most of the time, most fiddlers or most traditional artists or musicians, they learn from a teacher. Well, Gene didn't really learn from a teacher per se. He just kind of picked it up and started figuring it out, which is great. It was awesome. And what has happened is that he has a very unique style because of that. But the other thing that's happened is that he's the only person in the world that has that style, because he taught himself. But he grew up in the region, and he grew up working in the logging camps in Parmachini, Maine, and just working real hard, tooth and nail. And all the people out in the woods would be singing, or what is known as sur le, how do you say, sur le thé? Sur le thé. Sur le thé.
D'accord. Sur le thé.
Pourrais-tu nous donner un exemple de ça? D'une petite tonne comme... juste la chanter un peu. And so on and so on.
It's what they call tulip.
So, I wanted to take that just another step further and see if I could do it and sing it. Non, je vais le jouer. Thank you. So, when I was teaching Dalton these tunes, I was telling him they're crooked. And so in musical terms, that means that if you were dancing to it, you'd be either kicking your dance partner or tripping over them, because he would add these beats into a tune at the end and then take some off at the other end and then kind of paste them back on the middle of the tune. But it all worked out. And so with that in mind, I'd like to invite the rhythm guitar player, Bo Thayer. La musique à gauche, s'il vous plaît. Oh, yeah. I got it. You guys want to play? Jeans are So Gene learned how to play harmonica because he was driving log truck up there, and he told me it was one of the ways that he would.
It's better than cigar. I play music and keep me awake.
Keep him awake. Got one hand on the wheel, one hand on the harmonica, and I can remember taking long rides with him before I had my license. He was driving me to different fiddle contests, and it was the singing, you know, the same tune over and over and over and over and over and over again. I just wanted to stick my head out the window and roll it up. But no, I definitely have an appreciation for the music. And with that in mind, I'd like to move to Les Souliers Dorés sur le violon. Want to introduce this song?
Okay, good.
Vas-y. L'introduction. Le nom de cette chanson?
Je suis doré.
Yeah. How I Fall. Golden Slippers.
You ready?
So, Lynn, I was wondering if you could do me the small favor of finding that suitcase that I brought, and just putting it in the wings for me, please. Thank you. Si ça te dérange pas.
I gotta listen, Patrick. He's so good for me.
So, Les Joies du Québec. This would be if there was a fiddler's national anthem to Quebec, it would be this tune. So we just got a couple more for you, and we really want to thank everybody for coming out. This has been one of the most memorable experiences musically I've ever had, and I'm speaking for myself, but I can speak for everybody that, from top to bottom, everybody at the Kennedy Center and the Library of Congress have been so respectful and so polite and showing us around. We got a full tour today of the Library of Congress, and just walking into this building today, it's like, my God, it's like, wow. And the stage and the people and Matt and Evan and Lynn. So we're gonna do two more for you. One more on the fiddle, and that one is the Red Wing or Red Wing. Yeah, Red Wing. Let's see. Did you find that? I can't see it. Did you find that briefcase, Lynn? Oh, it's over there. There it is. That's all right. You can just bring it up and leave it right on the side stage. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. So I guess we'll have to leave it to the imagination. I guess we probably stayed up too late last night playing music, and I must have left the spoons on the bed. It's it's a French-Canadian thing. In your fiddle case? Oh, can you go get them, Dalton? Please? Thank you. All right. I thought they were in my suitcase. I was like, man. Well, because one of the things about, if you've ever seen the Titanic, right? The upper level and the lower level, that's all I have to say. The resourcefulness of the lay folk is great because one of the percussion instruments in Franco-American music is actually, it stems from just walking over to the kitchen and opening the drawer and pulling out 2 spoons and having that be a percussion instrument. So, leave it to Dalton. Thank you very much, Dalton. There they are.
You're not going to make me play those, are you?
No. L'accordéon. So I just want to thank everybody again. This will be our last tune. 10 minutes. We do have CDs for sale over on the way out, and it'll help us pay for jet fuel on the way back. So both there, Jean-Nil Tirou, Patrick Ross, Dalton Bennett. On behalf of all of us, I thank you for coming out, and I hope you had a good time. Thank you very much.
I like it now. I don't believe it's over. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.